Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Bit different today. We're doing this over Zoom rather than the usual StreamYard. I have my special guest in the house with me, Mr. Stacy Mckinley. Stacy, how you doing?
Just fine. Everything is good. Still working hard and trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah, Stacy, you know, our last interview went quite big. From what I heard from somebody, that the interview was listened to and sent directly to Anthony Joshua himself. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. Joshua was very complicated. So the more I think about this guy, the more I realize it's kind of hard to get to this guy. You know what I mean? It's he's been over here. He's been in 2 or 3 different training camps, and he went to Canelo's training camp and worked with this trainer for a while. Then he went out with my friend Ronnie Shields and worked with him. So I don't know. He's searching for some help, and I don't know. Maybe he'll find what he's looking for. I don't know. It's kind of puzzling to me right now.
Well, I've heard 2 stories. The first story, I don't believe. The second story, I find believable. The first story is he sacked Rob McCracken and he's looking for a new trainer. Don't believe that story. The second story I heard was he's actually going around to all these American trainers, picking up all tips from these American trainers, and then coming back and going to work with the same team. So he's making all these trainers think that they've actually got a job when they haven't got a job, and he's just picking up tips for them so he can come back to England and use those tips. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't. It doesn't make any sense for when you're dealing with certain fighters, but dealing with him, it could be possible because of his mindset and the way that he think. Maybe he feel that he can go from gym to gym, from coach to coach, and get different tips. Devin Haney kind of do the same thing. Devin Haney does the same thing. He go from Floyd Mayweather, get tips. He go to this other trainer, get tips. He go over here to get tips. Then he come back to his father. Then he comes back to his father. So, and they try to put all this stuff together, but that's not the way it works. So if he's doing that, he's going to be in a different place because he'll be very confused. So if he's going to find a trainer, he better get one that he's comfortable with, the one that he think they can do the job. But as far as getting tips from different trainers, it doesn't work like that. Too much information.
However, I will throw this at you, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said that one should be like water. Your thoughts on Bruce Lee? Because he had arts. He took the different arts from the different martial artists, took a bit from boxing, and he was considered arguably the greatest martial artist. But some people say he was just an actor. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I've heard that before. I heard that he was just an actor. If you notice the trainers of the fighters that's been very, very successful, okay, they either had 1 or 2 trainers. They stayed with the trainer as long as they could. Then they went and got some help. The same thing Lennox Lewis did. The same thing Vladimir Klitschko did. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't. You can't run from this trainer, that trainer, and picking up tips here and tips there, and think you're gonna come back and put it all together and put it into your original trainer's head. Okay, you're gonna do these things that these guys are telling me that I need help with. So now you can do it. It doesn't work like that because the trainer still won't comprehend what you really need. He really can't do it. It takes experience, and you got to be taught this for years and years to learn what different trainers know, especially trainers been out there a long time. It takes a long time to learn this business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if that trainer hasn't got a ceiling, in other words, he's only prepared to learn a certain amount. For example, if this trainer thinks he knows it all, no matter what information you come back and give that trainer, he still thinks he knows it all. So he's not open to change. And some trainers will resent you going to other trainers and getting information and coming back because you're actually saying, you don't believe in me. You're having to travel all around the world to come back to me. You don't believe in me. Because if you believed in me, you would be traveling around the world, traveling around all these gyms.
Well, you know, you got to first of all, you got to realize and understand what you need. Okay. The fighter knows he needs some help. Okay, what do you need help with? You heard Floyd Mayweather say things. You heard Larry Holmes say certain things. You heard all these trainers say certain things. Okay, but what do you really need help with? That's what it comes down to. Well, I can tell you basically what he need help with. First of all, because of his height, his size, his reach, his punching power, and his so-called boxing style, his defense is bad. Okay, he needs some defensive skill. He needs somebody to know defense. Okay, well, then how can I learn this defense? How is this defense going to help me? Okay, he has to know that, but he has to get with the person who understands the type of defense that, you know, and that's not hard to do, but you got to find the trainer that knows the defense and work with that particular trainer. If your problem is defense, then go to a guy that knows defense. Okay, knows defense and offense. But it's hard to put that together because what they're listening to is conversation. You know, they want to hear a good. I mean, you can sit there and talk and tell a good story, a good conversation. I mean, you know, you need to do this, you need to move it, and do that. It all sounds good. But you're not, it's just like when he was fighting, he's coming back to the corner, they're telling him more or less, oh, you're doing a great job. You started losing, but you're doing a great job. I am, but why am I getting beat then? I don't want to hear that I'm doing a great job. Tell me what to do technically to win this fight. That's what you got to get a guy who understand all of that.
Yeah, but the thing is, what perplexes me is Joshua says he studies boxing. Okay, he studies boxing. So first of all, the understanding of heavyweight landscape and who the heavyweight trainers are and who the successful heavyweight trainers are. Eddie Reynoso is not known as being a heavyweight trainer with any success. Ronnie Shields worked with Mike Tyson near the end of his career. If anything, they'd come to you because you worked with Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was arguably at his best, fighting up with, well, you had Mike Tyson at a good time. So Mike, and actually, I remember James Elvisher said something about you. He said, you were the man, the nuts and bolts behind Mike Tyson. He said, you were the guy that got the best out of Mike Tyson. You were the nuts and bolts. He said he saw you with Mike. He said, you were the guy, but you never got the credit you should have got. So I thought I'd just put that out there as well.
Well, one thing about it, Ronnie Shields worked with one fight with Mike Tyson. Okay. He worked with one fight. That was he worked with us with the Lennox Lewis fight. What happened was we was in Hawaii. And our conditioning trainer and our motivational trainer, Crocodile, and Jay Bright, who's Mike's adopted brother with Custody Amata. Jay Bright and I was training Mike. The two of us was training Mike, okay? But what happened was they got pissed off. Mike got pissed off at Jay Bright and got pissed off at Crocodile and sent them home from Las Vegas. They sent them out from Hawaii. They sent them home, okay? So I was there by myself. So what Shelly Finger did was he sent Ronnie Shields in to work with me. So he came with Ronnie Shields, but I like Ronnie Shields, okay? Ronnie Shields is a hard worker. He's been successful in boxing. He's a hell of a fighter his damn self. A lot of people don't realize that, but Sugar Ray Leonard was afraid to fight him in the amateurs. Wow. He's a good guy and he's a hard worker. So I didn't have a problem with Ronnie Shields coming in. But see, one thing is another thing about boxing is this, you got to understand. There was no control over me in terms of Shelly Finkel coming in or Don King coming in. There was no control over me. The control, Mike was the only one who can control me. Although his manager, Rory Holloway, is the one who hired me to work with him. Okay, he hired me to work with Mike. Now, what you got to understand is, if you can't control Stacy's this close to this fighter, and you can't have control over him, then what we got to do is we got to put one of our guys in there with Stacy to help manage and make sure that I'm getting all the right information back and to take control over Stacy. That's all that is. That's a watchdog. Yes. Okay, so this is all that is. Okay, but a lot of people in boxing don't understand that. Now, for 10 years, why was I the only one there? And a lot of them came and went. Okay, so why? Because I had the skills and the technique. That's what it all boils down to. But Ronnie Shields and I was worked very good together. And I remember in the fight. With Lennox Lewis. I think it was the round before he got stopped. Now there's rules in the corner. Okay, the head trainer at the time, the head second was Ronnie Shields in that fight. So Ronnie Shields is the only one who can stop the fight. Okay, I could stop it, but I had to do it the wrong way. But anyway, so the round before Mike got knocked out, stopped by Lennox Lewis, I asked Ronnie Shields, I said, look, let me have this next round because Mike is not reacting to you. Let me have this next round. And he said, no, I got it. I know what to do. I got it. But I understand where Ronnie Shields is coming from because he felt with his experience that he did have it. Okay, but he didn't realize at the time, you don't know Mike Tyson like I know. Okay, and I know that this next round, the Mike gonna get stopped. I already knew that. So my whole thing was, well, then Stacy, if you wanted this round, what you gonna tell Mike? My whole thing was gonna be, Mike, go after this next round, okay? Throw everything you got to his head. Everything you got to his head. If you can't get him in this round, I'm gonna stop this fight. But I was never allowed to do that because I was stopped. Okay, I was never allowed to do that. I would have stopped the doggone fight, but I gave him his last chance. Now, it could have worked. It could have worked. He knew that this is it. He might have threw everything. Don't worry about the body, go to the head. He made it went to the head, and I done did it before in the fight, and he might have won. But then again, after that round, it'd have been over with because I'd have stopped the fight because I knew what was getting ready to happen.
Right.
So it's and then again, you have to understand you're dealing with heavyweights. It's a whole different ballgame.
That's what I've said, that the landscape of heavyweight trainers with success is few and far between. I mean, you can testify for that.
Yeah, well, the kid, you got to understand one thing. Like he said himself, he said, I studied boxing, okay? I watch boxing a lot. And I study boxing. Okay, you watching boxing and you're studying. Okay, you see this fighter throw this combination. Okay, yeah, I saw him throw a left hook right hand. I saw him throw a right hand left hook. I saw him throw a left uppercut right hand. Okay, you saw that, right? This is what you saw with your eyes, right? Yeah. But why did he do that? Why did he throw those particular combinations? That's the answer you don't have. I don't know. He just threw them. Okay, but I know. Okay, what move did he make? You know, I was watching Trevor Bryan when he fought for the title against Vernon, and I was listening to the commentator. I watched it yesterday. I was listening to the commentator, and they kept saying, you know, there's something about this Trevor Bryan is a little bit different, and so they, you know, they was talking and said, well, what is it? Well, why is this kid so relaxed? He's very relaxed. Okay, his jab he got a dominant jab, but it seemed like to me he should be throwing more punches or different punches. Then they come out and say, this Trevor Bryan is solid. He's very technical. He's very solid. Now you begin to see what's going on, okay? Because of his skills and skill set is better than what you think it is. So you don't have to do 1,000 things, okay?
Do a few things
but
right.
6 or 7 things that he does, he perfected them.
Very white, yes.
The offense, defense, and all this stuff is perfected. I didn't teach him all this other stuff that I do with little fighter. I didn't have to do it. You don't have to tell him all that because you're just wasting time. He's not going to do it anyway. So you have to train him the way that God built him and the way that his mindset is. And this is what Joshua has to get. He has to get somebody that can talk to him not just about boxing, but about boxing life, period. You know?
He needs a mentor and a teacher, not a boxing trainer. And I said, but you see, those two things are hand in hand. You're talking about, as you've just said, he needs a teacher. But like I said, when you've got their heavyweight landscape and then you look at their heavyweight generals and trainers and teachers, you've got to go old school. And there are very few of those old school teachers around. There are a lot of trainers, there are very few teachers. And all the teachers are old school teachers, all old school.
Well, I got something here. I wish I had known that we were going to have this conversation. I have something here I would like you to read to you about heavyweight trainers. Heavyweight trainers and where they come from and what made them different from little trainers and this type of thing. Let's see if I got it here someplace. Give me a minute to. I want to read this to you.
So there's a group of heavyweight trainers that come to my mind, and let me know your thoughts on it. So I've got yourself, I've got James Ali Bashir, I've got Tommy Brooks. Who else? Heavyweight trainers.
There's good trainers. There's good trainers, and there's good teachers, and there's good trainers. Now it's hard to find. It's hard to find a good teacher and a good trainer combined. It's hard to put the two together. It's not an easy thing to do. I can say that. Okay, here we go, right here. Let me put my glasses on.
Okay, I'm going to sit back and listen. Okay. I want to learn.
I want you to listen to this. Okay.
Joshua's listening too.
Okay, this is old. This is old. Okay. It says, okay, who are the best seconds with heavyweights? Basically, who's the best trainers of heavyweights? Okay, okay. This is what they did with me. Okay, this is what we did with me. So we did a face-off. Okay, we're gonna do a face-off with Stacy Mckinley and Eddie Futch. Okay, this is the face-off.
Bashir told me about this. He told me about this between yourself and Eddie Futch.
Yeah, this is the face-off. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
Now there's no other trainer. There's no other trainer live today can do this. You can't have this face-off. So how you going to face off, Stacy? Because the face-off is I take this trainer that you train. I mean, this fighter that he trained. And you put your trainer. The fighter, the opposite fighter. Okay. This is the face-off. Okay. Eddie Futch and Stacy. Joe Frazier, one of the greatest heavyweights of all times. I love Joe. His left hook, I at least say his left hook, he called that evil thing. Okay, now we talk about styles also.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's Eddie Futch. Let's jump on the other side. Mike Tyson.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Let's go down. Okay. Eddie Futch, Larry Holmes. Okay. Jump on the other side. Stacy McKinley, Tony Tucker. See, you see the styles, right?
Hot.
Okay, now on the other side, Reddick Bowe, Eddie Futch. Okay. Now I didn't spend much time with Shannon Briggs, but I was there for him for a couple of fights. You would say Shannon Briggs.
Okay. Which Shannon Briggs are we talking? We talk Shannon Briggs when he first came out and was knocking everybody out. That's Shannon Briggs.
Shannon Briggs was a little bit later when I worked with him a little bit later. Okay. If I had it, I wish I had it when he first come out. He'd been a super fighter.
Woo, yeah.
But they didn't understand his mentality. He had the punching power and everything. And what they tried to do, they tried to make him fight the way that they think he should have fought. And the man was kind of like Ali. He was kind of like, hey, he's a free spirit. They wouldn't let him go. And I realized when I started working with him, I said, they tired you up. But anyway, we got Shannon Briggs, okay? You got Kenny Norton. Okay. I got Oleksandr Usyk on the other side. Okay. We got Michael Spinks. I got Michael Moore. Yeah, everybody don't know I'm the one who trained Michael Moore to when he won the light heavyweight championship.
You know, Michael Moore, he had a tremendous knockout ratio, he knocked a whole heap of guys out.
He never lost. He never lost as light heavyweight.
He was dangerous.
I had it when he beat Frankie Swindell for the world title.
Wow.
But Michael Moore. Okay, let's go on the other side. Okay, you got Jimmy Young. I got on the other side Samuel Peters. I had. Okay, then we go on down a little further. I got Trevor Bryan. I got all these guys. Okay, but when you do the match off, you say, oh, wait a minute, that's a pretty good match off right there. That's pretty good talent on that side over there, especially when you start talking about Tony Tucker and those guys like that. And these guys can fight. Michael Moore. I can go on and on with other heavyweights I had too to become world champion. So, you know, heavyweight champion.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. As somebody like yourself, I can't understand why Joshua doesn't contact you.
Now, these are champions. Okay, these are champions. I'm not talking about contenders, number 2 and number 3 in the world and this type of thing. These are world champions.
So why are they not contacting you?
Well, I think it's a political thing. It's very political.
You use the P word.
And one of the political things is this. has a lot to do with Don King. It has a lot to do with my association with Don King. Okay. But what they don't realize is this. People don't realize, well, he's with Don King. I am an independent contractor. And Don and I has that understanding. Okay. We got that understanding. I've been training fighters for Don on and off for 35 years. Okay. Now, why is it, Stacy, why are you so loyal to people that you work for? Because I think loyalty is part of it. I think loyalty and trust is part of it. And I think that my loyalty spreads out so far. I mean, I could have made a lot more money than I made in boxing if I had just stuck with that loyalty thing, okay? But the loyalty is, the people don't understand. You'll learn more from Don King on all sides of boxing.
Absolutely.
Than anybody else.
Absolutely.
So you say that, you got to understand that I have an understanding that this is the only way this thing can work, okay? The fighter, the trainer, the manager, and the promoter has to work together. Okay, because working together works. And that's all it is to it. Even Colin Powell, God bless his soul, just passed away. He said he didn't learn how to be a great leader until he learned to work as a team. So a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of trainers don't do that. They think that, hey, look, that's why you always hear me say, don't fire your trainer. I'll come in and work with you, because we'll work as a team. I'm not trying to come in with an ego. The bottom line is this: win. That's why Don sticks with me. Because Don know I understand that the bottom line is you got to win. It's about winning.
All right. If that's the case, this is another elephant in the room I don't understand. People idolize Emmanuel Stewart. They idolize him. But yet, that idea that they have, nobody even comes close to looking for that quality of trainer. And they will invest in trainers, like Uncle Bashir said, they will invest in cars, they will invest in women, they will invest in gold chains, but they won't invest in that quality of trainer. But they will idolize and say how great Emmanuel Stewart was. But Emmanuel Stewart was great because he also had fighters that invested in him. Lennox Lewis and Vladimir Klitschko both got knocked out, but they both went to Emmanuel Stewart and invested in him, and hence why they went on to be great champions.
I don't think people realize. I even got pictures of Emmanuel Stewart out here. I don't think people realize that Emmanuel Stewart and I was real close.
Mm-hmm.
He was very, very, very close. I remember the first time my first amateur fight in Detroit. I was going to the Golden Gloves. You know, I made me some shorts. And I had gym shoes on and all this. But see, I was fighting out of I was a college boxer, fighting out of the University of Michigan. Okay, so I went to my first the Golden Glove tournament, and I never will forget. I was at the tournament, and a little kid by the name of Bernard Mays. They called him Bernard Super Bad Mays. Now, back then, Tommy Hearns, Milton McCory, all of us was in the gym together at Crump. Okay. But the best fighter in the gym at that time was Bernard Super Bad Mays. Now, he was better than Tommy Hearns and all of them. He one of the best ever come out of Detroit. But he could fight, but didn't have mental strength. You heard me talk about mental strength.
Yes.
Okay, so other things got to him and messed his career. But as far as technical skills go, even Sugar Ray Leonard amateur, they avoided him, went to different weight classes. But anyway, Emmanuel Stewart, the first night I fought, and that kid told me, I was in the bathroom, and the heavyweight who just turned pro, who was the Golden Glove and the national champion, had them big fights at the nationals. So the heavyweight asked me, he said, how many fights have you had? And I said, I ain't had no fights. He said, you ain't had no fights? I said, nope. I remember now, I come from Ann Arbor to the inner city of Detroit. Okay, it's a whole different ball game. All these great fighters and amateurs and all this, okay, but I came there. So he said, do you know who you fighting tonight? I said, some guy named my mom. He said, do you know how many fights that kid had? I said, well, he had 60-something fight. He said, I don't know why they're gonna put you in the ring. You had no fights. But that little kid told me, he said, hey man, don't worry about that. Just go in there and just take care of business, man. You can do it, just take care of business. So I said, okay. So I went in the fight. I went in the fight, and first round was close. The second round, the kid hit me with a left hook. So I came back to the corner, I sat down, and I asked my coach, I said, what did he hit me with? He said, he hit you with a left hook. I said, okay, so watch out for his left hook. I said, okay. I said, this is the last round. I said, this is it. This fight's over with. I said, okay, go get him. I went out there, and this is my first fight. Shot a jab, set him up, shot a straight right hand right down the pipe. Boom! Knocked him out. Guy spun around the ring like this. And so it was my first fight. I didn't know no better. So I went over to his corner, looked at him while he's on the floor, and say, man, your eyes messed up. It's all swollen up. So his trainer said, get out of the corner. But that night, Emmanuel Stewart came in the dressing room. Emmanuel Stewart come in the dressing room. He said, look, that was your first fight? I said, yeah. He said, you got unusual power. So you think so? He said, I think so. You know what you just did? I didn't realize. I knocked the guy out. He said, you got unusual power. So right then, my trainer at the University of Michigan said, I want you to start spending time with Emmanuel Stewart. That's why I started spending time in Detroit with Emmanuel Stewart. And I learned a lot from Emmanuel Stewart. And one of the things that I learned from him is what I was saying earlier, that Emmanuel Stewart was a basic fundamental trainer. Okay? He didn't do a lot of slick stuff. It was all basic fundamentals. Okay? He was the one that taught me to look, always remember your fundamentals of boxing. And he taught me, say, as a trainer, you remember your fundamentals of boxing. Now, you got to understand one thing. In Detroit, we had other great trainers like Dale Williams. Now, Dale Williams was a slick trainer. He had all of them slick moves. He trained Floyd Mayweather. He trained Floyd Mayweather Sr. He trained Dick Tiger. He trained all those guys, all those top guys. But where he got his skills was from the original skill maker, and the man who's got the credit for being the first scientific fighters was a man out of they call him the old master, out of Baltimore, Maryland. See, that's where it all come from, all this slick stuff, all right? Wow. But on the United side, it came from Joe Louis. It came from Blackburn and Joe Louis. So we had all different styles of trainers in the gym. So you learn a lot. Now, Emmanuel Stewart, a lot of people don't understand this. One of his greatest gifts to boxing is, besides the fact that he was a hard worker, all that man working. That's where I got my work ethics from Emmanuel Stewart. He always told me, when there's a party going on, don't worry about the party, go to the gym. I seen this man work hard. I seen this man take us all over the country in his old Raggedy Cadillac and to amateur shows. And all. I watched him real close, okay? And I learned from him. And as a professional, I learned where a lot of his skills and his technique and his mindset was. And people don't understand this. Now, he called himself a promoter. He never been a promoter. He couldn't promote nothing. I was a better promoter than he was. But his skill set was, Emmanuel knew how to manage a fighter. He knew how to manage a fighter. He could see things and match a fighter up where most people can't see. They can't see it. But you notice all his fighters, they was always winning and knocking out, because he had the skills to know how to match his fighters to where he knew his fighter was going to win, but he knew that it's going to be a good fight for the public. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can't do that. I learned that from him. Okay, my guy gonna beat this guy, but it's gonna be a good fight. But it all depends on styles. He was great at that. Now, he never liked heavyweights. He never liked heavyweights. He used to tell me all the time, I don't like heavyweights because they hold and all these different things. They don't throw enough punches. But later on, when he got with Lennox Lewis, he began to love heavyweights. Because I was always telling him, we are easier to train than those other fighters. But anyway, so his skill set and his management of fighters was so great. Now, I will tell you this. There's some fights that's been made lately. That Emmanuel Stewart would avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Say no.
I could see one straight away. FA, Jagbar and Frank Sanchez.
Emmanuel would say, no.
No, avoid that one. Wrong fight.
Right. It's the wrong fight. I remember when Vernon Forrest at the time was pound for pound the best in the world. Vernon Forrest was, him and Roy Jones was sharing that title. So Don King actually, Emmanuel said, look, I'm gonna let Ricardo Mariota fight Vernon Forrest. And so Emmanuel told him, said, look, that's a bad fight for Mariota because Vernon Forrest is a good stand-up boxer. Because I told you, Emmanuel liked them basic skills. He's a good stand-up boxer. He can punch good, and he's one of the best in Mariota, get hits and all that. So when Don called me and asked me what I thought, I told him, and look, when I put the two together, I say, he's a better fighter than Mariota. I said, but he can't take what Mariota is putting out. He can dish it, but he can't take it. I said, Mariota knock him out. So Mariota, I got him train him, and he went in and he knocked him out. So you got to be able to see these different things. And this is getting back to the heavyweight. You have to be able to see. I watched Trevor Bryan fight yesterday, the last fight he had, Mr. Byrne. I watched it over and over. Okay. I watched Fury, and I watched Deontay Wilder last fight. I watched it twice yesterday. I watched Usyk, and I watched Usyk and Hunter's fight. I watched Usyk and AJ's fight. I watched AJ fight yesterday. I watched him with the second fight with this other kid, with Ruiz. Yeah. Okay. I watched them fights real close. I watched Daniel Dubois. I watched those heavyweight fights real close. And what I saw and what I learned, when I saw yesterday was these guys got holes in their shield, but they ain't got nobody to take advantage.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's there. The shield is open, but they don't have anybody to take advantage of. Okay. Even with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, I saw where Fury got holes in the shield.
Yeah. Now, what you're saying is exactly what I've been saying. If Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder had world-class heavyweight trainers, we would have a different landscape in the heavyweight division.
You would have a totally different landscape because both fighters are very talented and both fighters are tall, lanky, and big, and they're strong, and both fighters can punch, but they don't have the technical skill set. You got to have the skill set on both sides. Deontay Wilder is a puncher. He can punch like hell, okay? But there's been other punchers, Ernest Shavers, all those guys can punch. But when it came up against good skillful boxers, y'all got beat.
Now,
they couldn't say that.
Yeah, but both guys you talk about, Wilder and Joshua, if you go back and look at their fights, there were windows of opportunities. Joshua hurt Usyk in the 6th round. Wilder had Fury down twice. And it seemed every time that Fury moved, like Wilder would get himself into like a side-on position. And when he got himself to that side-on position and let that right hand go, Fury was walking onto it every time. But for some reason, when Wilder started getting wild and going with all these wild hooks, left himself open, exposed. But when he kept straight with the straight right hand, he was doing most damage. And I didn't understand why Malik Scott wasn't saying, look, the straight right hand's working for you. Stick with that. Don't go so wild. It didn't make no sense.
Well, the bottom line is this, okay? Now, what you're saying is true. Wilder had the tools. He had everything set up. But what Wilder didn't have is two things he didn't have. He didn't have a trainer that understood what was actually going on in the corner. I told you that before, okay? He didn't understand what was going on round by round. He couldn't envision the whole fight, what's going to happen in the future, the rounds to come. He couldn't envision that. He couldn't do it. I know he couldn't do it because Wilder was throwing too many damn punches. And he was throwing too many hard punches. And he was throwing too many wild punches. Now, what does this say? He started out being aggressive. He started out fast with a high pace. Now, what did that tell me? You're not going to be able to keep this pace from round 1 to round 12. It ain't going to happen.
17 stone.
That's right. It's not going to happen. So it tells me that your corner is inexperienced because he had to know how to tell you when to mash on the gas and when to pull back. Because you're a heavyweight, you can't throw these hard punches and go 12 rounds. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It ain't gonna happen. Okay, so the corner got to be able to manage those rounds.
You out, yes.
Because you know that in the 6th round, he was spent. All this, everybody's he wasn't in no shape. Yes, he was in shape. He threw too many hard punches, and he missed all them shots. He's trying to throw punches like a lightweight. I watched the pad work that he was giving it.
Yeah.
That man ain't no lightweight. You don't need all of that. So he took that into the fight. The second thing is with him is this, okay? You're being aggressive. You're the aggressive fighter. You throwing all this thunder. You ain't got no defense. You throwing punches, but you're not looking for anything back.
But in the preview to this fight, I said the person that actually backs the other person to the ropes, if Wilder's back is to the ropes, he gets knocked out. If Fury's back is to the ropes, he gets knocked out. I could not understand from all that training Malik Scott was giving Wilder, he still did not learn how to keep his back from against the ropes. He still could not fight backing up. He kept backing up to the ropes. You had a year and a half to teach this guy to move away from ropes. Bring in a ballet dancer, get something to work on a man's footwork, move from side to side. Don't keep going straight back. And I'm thinking to myself, I know that. I'm not a professional heavyweight trainer. You are supposedly a professional heavyweight trainer. You've given us all this spiel about, you know, he's in the kitchen and they've got all the ingredients cooking and all this stuff. And speaking of philosophy stuff, but come the fight time, Wilder's backing straight up with his chin in the air like a giraffe. I mean, what's that?
You said the right word. When you're backing up and you pulling back from punches, you pulling straight back from the punches. 9 times out of 10, you pull back, you're gonna get hit on the end of the shot.
And clipped. That's the worst time to get clipped. Right on the tip of the chin. You're gone.
Wilder pulled back one time, all the way back straight, and got hit right on the tip of that right hand, and it hurt him real bad. He pulled back from the left hook. See, as tall as this boy throwing them shots, Wilder could have dropped under the hook, or he should have caught the hook, or he should have shielded against the hook. You see the shot coming, catch, shield, but he ain't been taught. He don't know it. That's defense. He don't know anything about that.
He could have caught and shot at the same time. Bam, bam, and count. And the straight right hand as well. Block it and hit straight up the straight down the pipe. I just like basic fundamentals.
And getting hit with jabs, clean. I tell you what, if Fury had started out jabbing in the first round and kept the jab going, he'd knocked him out early. He'd have knocked Wilder out early because he can't get away with a jab. You can't get away with a jab, you got a problem. You know, you really got a problem. So he's carrying his hands here. The jab is just clean as it can be. So, and I'm looking at this, you know, you got to be taught these things.
I don't understand. For a year and a half, what the hell were they doing? He just looked bigger. He looked bigger, but looked awful. His football looked all over the place. He looked drunk as well when he was fighting. After about 33 rounds, he looked drunk. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was devastating to him. It was an exciting fight.
Oh yeah,
it was a good fight for the fans. I mean, it was a fantastic fight for the fans and things like this. But it was a fight that he could have won. But like I say, he didn't work on his defense, and he was throwing too many hard punches, and he was missing those shots. When you miss a shot, it takes more out of you.
But you see, those
are little things.
But even those things in the cup, like Fury said, if it wasn't for Sugar Hill that night, he would have lost the fight. But Sugar Hill was able to keep Fury calm under a storm.
Keep him calm.
Where Wilder didn't have that in the corner. He didn't have that train to say, you know what? You need to get back to your jab, use the straight right hand, keep off the ropes, take the center of the ring, keep away from the ropes. Do not have your back touching the ropes. If you're on ropes, tie up and don't fight inside with Fury because he's going to tire you out.
Yeah. Well, see, Fury was right because when Fury got hurt bad, when Fury got back to that corner, okay, Sugar Hill realized that, look, he has something to go on. He has something to think about because he realized my fight had been here before. My fight had been down before, and he got up. He should have been knocked out before, but he got up. So he's not worried about that. So we're not going to panic because he got knocked down. We're going to go ahead on. We're going to freshen up and come out, and we're going back to fight, okay? It's the same thing with that boy. When he got knocked down, he didn't have nobody to tell him what to do. He didn't have anybody to really give him the right instructions to get through this next couple of rounds and then stay fresh. When he had Fury, when he had Fury, he should have beat him. But he couldn't do that. You got to have the experience, man. And you talk about Usyk. He'll never beat. With the type of training he's doing, Joshua ain't gonna beat no one. He ain't gonna beat that boy. He can't beat him.
He's gonna get hurt because he's talking about being a dog. listen to this. People are saying if he goes back to how he fought in 2015, he beats Usyk. But I don't understand. You can't be on the road saying he's inexperienced, he's learning on the job. But back in 2015, he's got the experience to beat Usyk. He was less experienced then, but they kept saying he had no experience. So it don't make no sense. And if he fights like that, like a dog, and goes to try to charge Usyk, he'll get himself knocked out even faster. Surely.
Yeah, he's not gonna change. He's not gonna change. And it's no fantasy. It's no fantasy about this thing. This thing is real. This boxing thing is real. That kid Usyk is real. As if I tell my guy Trevor Bryan, I sit there and watch the fight. I said, look, let me tell you something about this kid. This kid is good. This kid is Olympic gold medalist. The kid is 4 or 5 time national champion. I said the kid is undisputed cruiserweight champion. He had 2 fights and become heavyweight champion, 3 belt. I said, the kid has never lost. He doesn't understand losing. He doesn't know how to lose. He's never lost. So it tells me that he's mentally. I had Kotami from the UK. Brilliant little fighter. Tough as he could be, actually beat Corey Smink, but they gave him the fight. I mean, Devin Alexander, but they gave him the fight in St. Louis, hometown decision. Those guys out of that Ukraine, those guys are hungry. Okay, those guys are very hungry. Those guys train hard. Those guys are dedicated in what they do.
Sure.
And so you can't walk around and thinking that because you good, you this and you that, I'm gonna train 6 weeks for this fight. It ain't gonna work.
Work like that.
It's not gonna work.
This guy, from what I studied with Usyk, right? From what I see, Usyk, he has no inside game. He has no inside game. And the other thing, okay, this is just my opinion. The other thing is, I think Joshua made him look better than he actually is, because Joshua fought the complete wrong style. But when he actually put it on Usyk and he hurt Usyk, he didn't know what to do to follow up on Usyk. He allowed Usyk to recover and get back into the fight.
Okay, now I don't know if we talked about this before. I'm not going to tell him how to beat this. I'm not going to tell him.
But the other punch I didn't see Joshua use was the uppercut, and I thought Usyk was open to the uppercut. Like when Joshua got close to Usyk, close on the inside, I never saw him whip the uppercut on the inside. I never saw him hold Usyk and hit body shots on him. I never saw all that stuff. I thought Usyk was vulnerable to the body, and anytime Joshua pinged the shot to the body, Usyk would back up real quick. I thought, well, he's backed up for them body shots, but you're not pushing it to him. You're allowing him to just dictate. And every time Usyk hit him with a straight left hand, it was like, right, good dog, sit down, good dog. It was like he had Joshua on the lead with that left hand. Every time he got hit with the left hand, be a good boy, sit down. Rather than go ahead, go. You're the trainer. I'm just the interviewer. Go ahead.
Livingstone Bramble, right?
Yes.
You remember Livingstone Bramble?
Yes, I remember Livingstone Bramble.
30 years or 40 years, maybe 30 years ago, it might have been longer than that. 30, maybe 30 years ago. I was training the Golden Gloves out there, working at the Golden Gloves in Las Vegas. And I had Tony Tucker there. And so Bramble came up to me. He's a funny type guy. He come to me, he said, look, he said, you guys give me to fight a southpaw, right? I said, yeah. He said, tell me how you fight a southpaw. So I started talking to him. I said, well, because Dale Williams, who trained Floyd Mayweather Sr. in Detroit, we was taught to keep our left foot to the outside of the southpaw's right foot. You keep it to the outside and you keep the southpaw turning. Keep him turning to his right. That means you coming across on him this way, and you got him. Okay, you got him lined up. Now this works. It works for a boxer. It worked. So Bramble told me, he said, look, he said, I want you to go and check out all my fights. I said, okay, I'll check your fights out, Bramble. He said, every southpaw I ever fought, I knocked him out. That's what you did? He said, just check my fight, check my record. Every left hand I ever fought, I knocked him out. And I said, well, because I always had an open mind to learn. I said, why did you knock him out? He said, because I stayed on top of him.
Yeah, you got to.
He said, I stayed on top of him. He said, the closer I am to a southpaw, he's not a southpaw anymore.
No more.
He's a regular fighter.
Correct.
He said, you can knock him out with left hook, right hands, and uppercut. So I said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna try it. So I tried it, and it worked. A couple of my fights, I said, oh, Brandon was right. So instead of me trying to do this lateral movement and win this fight,
take it to him.
I'm gonna knock him out. So I took that and I put it and I use it, and it worked. Now, 10 or 15 years later, I was at Don King's training camp. And there was another trainer told me, he said, look, we're fighting the southpaw. What we got to do is we got to stay on top of him with left hook, right hands, and uppercuts. I said, we'll knock him out if we stay close to him. You say, you got to stay close to the left hand. So I pulled him to the side. I said, you know what? I said, I was taught this by Bramwell about 15 years ago, man. It's amazing what you just said. You two is the only two guys I ever known to say this. Bramwell and the guy named, God rest his soul, was Panama Lewis.
Wow. The Panama
Lewis. Yep. And it worked. And it worked. So as big as Bramwell, as big as AJ is, and as strong as he is and hard as he punches, you ain't got no business sitting back waiting on this kid.
What
when
about
the bell rang, he should go straight to him.
What about this?
That's what I would have him do.
I heard
And
this
I would
the
knock
other
him
day.
out.
The thing about the southpaw, going towards the left hand, instead of going away from the left hand, go towards the left hand.
Right. Go to him.
Go to the left hand.
And I'm gonna say this. I remember when Trevor Bryan was sparring with Ortiz.
Yes.
Okay, they've been sparring each other for 7 years. So I told Trevor Bryan, Ortiz had more experience than Trevor at the time. So if Trevor had about 1 fight or 2 fights. So after a while, Trevor began to catch up with him, right? So I told Trevor, I said, listen, I said, I'm gonna change you up today. I said, I'm gonna show you something, I'm gonna change you up today. Well, what you gonna do? I said, Ortiz got all this experience against you. I said, but I'm gonna show you something, and I want you to try it today. You're gonna see a whole different fighter. So he said, what you want me to do? So you keep your hands up good. I want you to take it straight to him. And I want you to hit him with left hook, right hands, and uppercuts. You understand what I'm saying? I said, before he can get off, you shoot your right knee, you put your hook behind it, and come back another right hand, another hook, and shoot your uppercut. I said, see what happens. And when he did it, Ortiz's knees was buckling. And everybody in the gym, they couldn't believe it. Damn, I can't believe Trevor hitting him like that. So from then on, there's a whole different respect in the training. I had Trevor Bryan to do it, this whole different respect. Now I'm telling you too much. I need to get paid for this.
Hey,
I'm telling you too much.
I'm getting out. I'm eking it out of you, Stacy. I'm eking it out of you. Hey?
Yeah, one of our other trainers in Detroit, his name was Luther Burgess. Luther Burgess was a great trainer. And I was telling Luther we're gonna beat up John David Jackson. John David Jackson came down there. So I was told Don Turner, say, man, you need to pull your fight out here because I said, Mike McKellar gonna beat him half to death. So Luther looked at me and said, don't ever tell anybody what to do. Don't tell nobody your skill.
Your plan
keep it to yourself. Okay, Luther. And Luther the type of guy, Luther said, you only need a jab, a left hook and a right hand, and be in shape. You can beat any fighter.
Yep.
I said, yeah. He said, you can beat any fighter. He said, because the fight is in the mind. He had that's who trained Emmanuel Stewart and all of them guys. But and he fought Willie Pep himself. But he had a very strong mind. Very strong mind. So we had all different types of trainers with all different types of mindsets and skills in Detroit. So we learned all of this. But if this boy go to him, straight to him. Don't back up, go straight to him. Forget about all that fancy stuff. Cut the ring off. Don't let him move. Don't let him move to the right. Don't let him move to the left. And don't let him move forward. Back him up and go straight to him. I said, Joshua, knock him out.
Of course. Of course.
But get Joshua to believe that. That's where it comes in right to the head. When he believes that, that's what you gotta do.
And how much?
I'm gonna tell you what,
And how much damage?
He'll never believe that. You know why he'll never believe it?
Why?
Because as soon as I tell him this and started working on this, as soon as I turn my back,
you're gonna do something.
Other trainers gonna come to him and tell him, you got to box it from the outside. Don't do anything again. So that's what's gonna happen. That's where the confusion comes. That's why you got to get with the trainer, you have to work together. But you have to be able to convince him that, hey, this worked. You might as well, because the other way didn't work. So you got to try something new. I was reading this magazine today. I was reading this magazine today. Okay, I was reading the magazine.
I've seen that. Leonard says, is that a second or third fight? That's the second fight,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think this is the first fight. And
Is it?
this is Tommy now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's the first fight there, yeah.
Now I was reading right here today where Sugar Ray was saying that how hard he trained this fight against Tommy Hearns. And he said how hard he trained, and he said that he knew they had to knock Tommy out to win. He said, but mentally I was strong and I was in super condition, and I knew I was going to get him, so I got him. So I went to him, but see, I watched the fight real close. Now I had told him, I got in trouble down the front because we was talking about the fight before it happened, because I was the one holding the pads and the thing for Tommy when he was getting ready, the body thing, and I was holding that for him. And so I said, you know what, Tommy ain't gonna beat Sugar Ray. God Almighty, what did I say that for? Now I'm in the gym training with these guys because he can't beat Ray. Ray's too good, he's too fast, he's too strong, he just too smart. And when you watch the fight, Tommy was bringing the fight to Ray. At first, he was bringing the fight to Ray. Ray would beat him to the punch when Tommy was coming to him. So Tommy got back and started boxing him. Once he started boxing Ray, Tommy started winning. He putting them rounds in the bank. Boom, boom, boom. Now Tommy Hearns is boxing. So Sugar Ray had to readjust. Sugar said he had plan A, B, and C. He had to readjust. His adjustment was, okay, I can't stay on the outside and outbox this guy. He's too strong, he's too arms too long, and he boxing, I'm losing. I got to go to him, I got to walk to him. You watch the fight close, he walked to him, blocking shots, catching, wasn't backing up. Walked to him and knocked him out. Okay, this is the same thing. Take the power to him, go to him. You got the power, go get it.
That's how Fury fight. That's the secret to Tyson Fury. When Fury gets dropped, he gets up, he puts his hands up like this, and he walks and takes it to you.
In the fight.
That's how he does it.
And at that point, when his Fury is hurt, Wilder just started throwing punches. Just swinging punches, wing. No. Settle down.
Take your time. Pick your shots.
So you see what you're doing, place your shots, and set him up for the big one. Boom. Fight's over with. The corner can't tell him that. But the corner's excited. The corner is excited themselves. Oh, keep punching. Settle down, relax. Set him up. For one shot, set him up.
Straight through him.
Fight's over with. But that's what they choose to do. And
that's what happens.
When they come back and everything, I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed and get Trevor Bryan up in there so we can show him how to do this thing.
Right. I wanna make a prediction on a fighter. Somebody I saw fight the other night, and I think it's going to become heavyweight champion of the world eventually. Frank Sanchez is my tip to become heavyweight champion of the world. I think he's better than Luis Ortiz. I think because of the way he fights, he's able to go into that sniper mode where he can just be out on the outside and then suddenly jump in and throw a combination and be out of the way. So he's got good footwork to get in and get into range, get out of range, land your shots, not get hit yourself, be defensively responsible, and still have enough power to do damage and still control the range. And he's got educated footwork, attack, and defense. And that's why I think this man can become a heavyweight champion of the world. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on it is this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I take a look. I look at all of it. I take a look at all the fighters, and I watched Chance. I watched him fight the other day. I watched him fight. He looked real good. I predicted that win. I'm sitting there with some guys. They were saying, "Well, this big tall guy." I said, "Look, first of all, this tall guy can't see a right hand.
Mm-hmm.
He get hit with too many right hands because when he was running Shields, bang, right hand, he's down. Okay, this guy can't see a right hand coming. Okay, so he ain't got the best chin in the world. So this kid here is gonna clip him. I said, "You're gonna knock him out with a right hand." So watch and see what I tell you. So they knocked him. I said, "How did you know that?" I said, "I know." But the kid is a good fighter. Sanchez is a good fighter. He got footwork. He moves here. He got this little shake and bake. He got this. He got that. He got the little movements on him. Okay. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to offset that? How can you offset that? How can you break all those different moves? How can you break all this stuff that he's doing? It's real easy.
Feints. Make him come, bring forward.
You take the jab. The jab can control and break all of that stuff up.
But how many, you say that, but how many heavyweights in the world have got an educated jab with a good teacher behind that? And they're very few.
The best heavyweight, the best jab in the heavyweight division today is Trevor Bryan. And everybody knows it. And everybody, even Larry Holmes commented and say, this kid got an unusual jab. But we talked to Larry Holmes years ago about it, but I teaches this. I don't care how fast a fighter is, how many combinations he got, what he does in the ring. If you educate your jab, you can break all of that up. So
that's still a fascinating fight. Trevor Brian versus Frank Sanchez. I would love to see that fight.
He's a good fight. He's a good fighter.
Is he? Okay, you tell me then. Okay, take Trevor Brian to one side. Sanchez has enough to offset what Fury does. He has enough to offset what Fury does.
Well, I guess I might as well tell you this too, then. I'll tell you everything else.
Gosh.
I saw something in Fury in this last fight. I saw something in Fury. And it's something that I was
concerned,
glad to see if my fighter was fighting Fury. Something that I was really glad to see when my fighter was fighting Fury, because what he did was he went from a couple of things that he does in the ring that really throw all fighters off. Any fighting, throw them off. Okay?
And he stopped doing that now.
He has that. That herky jerk, that shaky
and bake.
Okay? If you watching the last fight, he only used it one time. He only used it one time, and when he used it, Wilder fell apart. I mean, he fell way back to the rope because he didn't know what was going to happen. But Fury got away from it because he's walking straight in. And he's walking up to him. He's overpowering these guys. Okay, when I saw that, I said, "Oh, that shake and bake is a monster." The guy was the greatest guy in the world. What's his name? The heavyweight out of New Jersey. Damn, I forget his name. But Jersey Joe Walcott. Jersey Joe got that. He had that shake and bake, tie your head off. So he kind of got away from that. Not Wilder, but Fury kind of got away from that. So I studied all these fights the other day. I studied them real close. I said, okay, this is what we can do with this guy. This is what we can do with this guy. But first, we got to wait and see what's going to happen with the WBA, whether or not Joshua going to, he's going to do the rematch. We don't know what's going on. So right now, there's some decisions going to be made here soon. And Trevor Bryan is right in the middle of all of it. And I can't wait to get Trevor in the ring with these guys.
So what happens to Trevor Bryan at the moment? I mean, he's not as active as we'd probably like him to be.
So what happened to him?
What happens with him? Because he's not as active as we'd like him to be. We need to see more of Trevor Bryan.
We need to see more of Trevor. I mean, Trevor has had different offers to fight here and different offers to fight there. But what has happened is these promoters and these sponsors keep coming up with all these big ideas, these big loaded ideas. Hey, look, you're going to fight for $300,000 or $350,000. Okay, let's do this fight. I guarantee you $6 million. I guarantee you $8 million. But we're still working on the contracts and still trying to. So that's what happened to him. And it happened to him 2 or 3 times with different fighters. Okay, I'll give you an example. One of them was Mike. He signed a contract for $8 million. Now, we're not going to go fight somebody. We're not going to go fight somebody else and take a chance on losing, to somebody for $600,000. When you got a contract right here, if Mike decides that's what he want to do for $8 million, you can't do it. Okay, the same thing with AJ. Okay, AJ would have had to, he beat this boy. He had to fight mandatory. It's going to be ordered for him to fight Trevor Bryan. Okay, for AJ to fight Trevor Bryan with that belt and that Trevor Bryan got, you're looking at $10 million. So what has happened is he's been right there now. What happens? Oh, AJ go get beat. Okay, so what happens to him is all these big offers on the table for him to fight, but then you all got other fighters that he can fight, but they only $2, $3, $4 million. So it's kind of hard. It's very hard to say, look, let's go take this let's go take this $400,000 fight and fuck around and get beat. Because remember now, this is the heavyweight division. Anything can happen. Just saw it. You only take one punch. So you can't, it's part of management.
Yeah, a lot of fight fans don't understand that. They don't get that. They think it's, oh, this guy's scared of this guy. No, this guy just wants to make a lot of money, and he thinks that if he takes this fight, there's a chance that he might not make that money ahead. So skip this fight, then make that fight, make more money for it.
All Mike Tyson had to do is sign the contract. He's the one that initiated the contract, or he wanted the contract, so everything's in the contract. Gave Mike everything he wants. The money is right there. Everything is there. It's a go. But he didn't sign on the dotted line. If he had to sign on the dotted line, okay, that's $8 million for Trevor Bryan. And Mike ain't gonna beat no Trevor Bryan, but that's $8 million. So then you get an offer from Ruiz. Okay, we'll give you I think $650,000 fight Ruiz, $300,000 fight. Why are we gonna take a chance on fighting Ruiz for $600,000 and we got an $8 million contract there? So this is what happened. This is what's been happening with Trevor Bryan. Okay, and to be honest with you, it's still happening.
What about Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce? What about those two guys?
I watched Joe Joyce and the kid fight the other day. I watched the fight real close. This kid is dangerous. He's a good fighter. He got a good right hand. He's a good puncher. But he's amateurish. Yes. He throws a lot of punches and throw punches from all angles with power and everything. But he's amateurs. And see, a fighter that's relaxed. That's why Joe Joyce beat him. You relax. You see everything coming. Yeah. Because now it's not the Golden Gloves. So he's very relaxed. You can see things coming. Sooner or later, you're going to clip you. And that's what happened. That's what happened to the kid. Now, will this kid fight with a cut above his eye, eyes closed, nose broke, ribs cracked, jaw cracked? Will he fight back? No. He'll quit. He did it against Joe Joyce with a little eye.
But he was doing, I told people about that quitting thing, or quitting or finding a way out. He did it in sparring as well, when he was sparring with Povetkin, so I understand. So
wait, he quit?
In sparring.
Once a quitter, always a quitter. Now, my fighters, I have had them in the ring sparring. Okay, the little kid I got from Russia, he's in that sparring 3 or 4 months ago. I said, look, give me another round. Oh, no, I got enough. I can't, no, I got enough. And he tried to get out of the ring. So I grabbed him. I said, no, you can't come out of this ring. You got to give me this other round. No. So he got out of the ring. I cursed him out. Told him, get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck away from me. Get your plane. Get your ass on back to Russia. Shit like that. So then he looked at me and he got back in the ring. And he finished. I'm going to take your ass home.
Sometimes you have to cuss him out.
Yeah, so he finished the round. Okay. Now, what he didn't understand was this. I knew that he didn't have to finish that round. Okay. But I also knew if I let you walk out of this ring without you doing this other round, you got out of the ring, quit. You'll quit.
You'll quit mentality.
You quit up here.
You'll quit
down there. The real fight.
Absolutely.
Now, he didn't understand how important that was. Okay. The round itself wasn't that important to me. But what was most important was you got out of the fucking ring. Get back in there. So what you're saying is the guy quit in the ring, got out, you're quitting the fight. Principles. Now, mentally, it tells me something about him. It tells me that in the clinches, in him and Trevor fight, if they get in the clinches, all I got to do is tell Trevor to whisper in his ear. You quit once, motherfucker, you'll quit again. Okay, you a bitch, you a quitter. Okay, you think your eyes closed now. Now his mind is weak already. So his mind is running. Yeah. Mind is running. Easy fight.
The other guy that I think could become heavyweight champion is Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce, yeah. I don't know what's happening to Joe Joyce. I don't understand what this situation is. I don't know.
I see him as I see him as the British George Foreman.
Yeah, he can fight. They offered me that fight, and I turned it down a couple years ago. I said, no,
no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. No, that guy. Yeah.
We don't need that. The money is not there, and why are you gonna take a chance? You know, it's not there. But the heavyweight division is wide open now. It's flourishing, and there's gonna be some big fights, and that's gonna be a lot of stuff going on, man.
Your thoughts,
we get to use it, get him out of there.
Your thoughts on Dillian White and Otto Volley and the sudden shoulder injury, which people are finding dubious, and I'm one of those people who think it's pretty dubious.
You know, I don't understand what's all this big fuss about Dillian White. I don't understand all this big fuss. Maybe because he's Eddie Hearn's fighter. I mean, he came back and beat Povetkin. Povetkin knocked him out. He come back and beat Povetkin. I mean, come on now. Povetkin's over the hills. He's been in a lot of wars. I don't understand what's all this big emotion about. I don't understand it. I don't see it. I don't see all this, what they're building him up to be. I really don't see it. He's tough. Oh, he's tough. He come to fight. I don't see all that. You know, he was giving some. Huh?
I think there's a lot of wanting him to become heavyweight champion because he's been waiting for so long, and he's taken on most of the challenges that have been given to him. So, you know, right. he has been the most active. If you look at his resume, okay, I think Joe Joyce, in terms of his resume, he's probably got the best resume I've seen for a 14-fight novice or 15-fight novice. If you look at the guys he's fought, I would argue that even the top names that have gone previously, Mike Tyson's first 15 fights or 13 fights, didn't have that stiff competition that Joe Joyce has had.
Absolutely. He had good stiff competition, and he been it down. That can be an advantage, and it can be a disadvantage.
Okay.
Either way. I mean, the punches that he took from Joshua, and he was giving Joshua hell. The hard punches he took from Joshua, okay? You absorb those punches, okay? The punches in the knockout that you took from Povetkin, you absorb those punches, okay? Now, you absorb those punches and you coming back. Now, let me explain something to you. Those punches that you absorb.
Durability,
in your body, okay?
Yep.
They're still there.
They're still there. Of course they are. Of course they are.
Now, you don't know when they may come out. You may be walking down the street and the punch come back, boom, you fall. So you don't know. So you never know. And this is what I tell Trevor Bryan. You've never been hurt, you've never been down, you've never been knocked out, you've never been staggered, none of that. You fresh. You ain't took the punishment these guys done took. It's a whole different ball game. So you got to take all this in consideration. All of this has to be taken in consideration. We'll see, but he's tough, boy. Hey, look, he's in the division. We need more heavyweights. Everybody got to fight somebody because all this other stuff is Dominic Brazil and all this other stuff that they got fighting anybody. And this other kid, the big kid, what's his name, Valerius or whatever his name is, big guy with the tattoo on his chest.
Yeah,
come on, ain't nothing but a joke.
Big Baby Miller returns.
Oh, Jesus Christ and Moses too.
Come on, don't be that bad. Come on. We need a bit of Big Baby Miller. Come on.
Big Baby Miller's up there training with my buddy, Kevin Cunningham.
Yes.
He with Kevin Cunningham up there weighing about 350 pounds. And, I said, Kevin, you gonna get that weight off of me? He said, yeah, I'm gonna get the weight down. And Big Baby said, I can fight at 285 pounds. Big Baby is a good fighter.
Yeah.
I work with him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter, got good hand speed for a big guy. This type of thing. But like I told my friend Kevin, I said, do the best you can for him. I said, but keep your eyes on this kid, man, because you have to understand one thing. There's a thing called 3 strikes you out.
Uh-huh.
This kid had 3 strikes on him. Okay, in terms of this, you know, this body testing and all this stuff, coming up with all this stuff. And I said, now if he did it 3 times, what makes you think you want to do it 4th time? Okay, I don't care what he say. Well, I ain't gonna do that. Right? You turned down. You did it with a fight you could have had millions of dollars with. And then the last time you did it, you were not just one type of drug. You had 2. So who gonna take a chance? I can't take a chance. I can't put my money behind a guy like this.
Let me counter that a second. Povetkin got busted 3 times, yet he still fought on pay-per-views in England. Explain that. And he got busted 3 times.
Who got busted 3 times?
Oleksandr Povetkin.
Well, Povetkin, you know, they suspended him, charge him a little fine and this type of thing. But you have to understand about Povetkin. Povetkin is an Olympic gold medalist. Povetkin is a former world, former heavyweight champion of the world. Povetkin represented Moscow. He represented Russia. He's a big man in Russia.
He's still cheat. He's still considered a cheat. That's
right. And this guy here, who's a nobody, is out there doing these things. And hey, ain't nobody gonna stick up for him like gonna do Povetkin. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So with Canelo then, same thing with Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. You gonna take Canelo out of boxing? The money, you gotta make money.
Exactly.
The money that this guy generates, you gonna take him out of boxing? Are you crazy? That ain't gonna happen.
Interesting. Eh?
Big Baby's a nobody, and he ain't got system enough to get to the money.
There you go.
He messed up. Okay, Tyson Fury told you. Yeah, I went on the cocaine bin, on cocaine and everything. People just love it. Now let me give you an example. How this thing works. Look at Mike Tyson. We were talking about this yesterday. Okay, look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was convicted of rape. Whether he did it or not, he still was convicted. Okay, he went to jail. Okay, Mike Tyson has been accused of a lot of different things, assault here and assault there, and accused of rape and all this stuff. Besides the one all these things that he's done, beat people up, beat their eyes and all this. Okay, get on national television, curse people out, telling guys at the Lennox Lewis press conference, we got to fight Lennox Lewis in New York, telling the guys, you know, I'll F you in your ass, white boy. I'll do this and all that. Okay, telling the Nevada commissioner, I'm right there, telling the Nevada commissioner, I don't give a fuck if I ever fight I don't ever fight in Las Vegas again. That's when he went to get his license. That's when he went to get his license back. Okay. Okay. Here's a guy that jumps out and beat up police. Here's a guy that beat people up on the street. Here's a guy. All right. This guy done did everything in the world to be locked up and thrown away. Now he told me himself. He said, Stacy, you know, I ain't supposed to be walking. I ain't supposed to be free. I said, what you mean? He said, I'm not supposed to be free. He said, a person like me is supposed to be locked up. I'm not supposed to be out here in society free. Because see, Mike always try to use this old weird ass reverse psychology on him. Yeah. So I said, Mike, you know what? That's not true. I said, jail is for the homeless. People who have a place to go, they can go there and sleep and eat. It's for the homeless. Then a couple of hours later, you know what? Like he done thought it up. Jail is for the homeless. Okay? Yeah, it's not for a person like me. Now, all this been said, this guy do an exhibition, go back to the dressing room, get a big old fucking blunt like this, smoking right in front of commissioners and everybody. Got his what they call it, a pod show, whatever they call it, sitting up there interviewing people smoking red big blunts and stuff like this, you know. Okay, cursing out reporters, like he told this girl, I forget her name, I forget
the fornication one, the one about the fornication.
Yeah, he told
you better keep quiet. Unless you're gonna fornicate, it's better you keep quiet.
Yeah. He told Rita Cosby, oh, I see you're a beautiful lady. You're a lady by, he told the journalist, say, you're a lady by during the day, but at night you're a whore. Now listen, here's a guy that did all this stuff that I just told you. And guess what? They just erected a great big bronze statue of him in Las Vegas. That's right. Big statue, 11 feet statue of Mike Tyson in Las Vegas. So that what it tell you, it tells you in this country, you can be forgiven. You can be given, you give it a second and third, you got a second chance, third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance, but you give chances, okay? So
as long as you're making money.
Huh?
As long as you're making big money, you'll be forgiven.
As long as you're making big money. You ain't making no money, you got to go to, You can't, I would tell you another story about Mike one day, because a lot of people don't know how Mike got out of jail in Indiana. They don't know the connection behind that. But I
Well,
know the connection.
yeah, was that not to do with the nation?
Huh?
Was that not to do with the nation?
No, got nothing to do with the nation.
But the nation had something to do with that.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, and you will be shocked. It will shock and amaze you how Mike Tyson, why he was released from Indiana, because he wasn't going to be released. And if I told you the circumstances behind it, you wouldn't believe it. You'd be like, no, it can't be true.
I think that needs to be. I think that needs to be an exclusive interview for that. I think that needs to be something special. I think we should save that one for definitely.
You'll never get that one out of me.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna try. You know me, Stacy. I'm gonna try.
That one will go. That one will go viral. That will go soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. I'll keep.
And you know what would be so amazing about that? Because every audience would tune into that. White, black, whatever, it don't make no difference. They would tune into that. It's something that people dealt with. They would tune into it. But I'm not gonna reveal that.
Well,
I'll let Don King do that.
I'm gonna keep tapping and just keep knocking away. Maybe one day it'll crack and then maybe something will slip. You know me, Stacy.
But he's back. Mike is back. He's doing great.
He's
good for
Mike versus Logan Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Logan.
Yeah, Paul Logan.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's a big money thing.
Mike should knock him out. Or is that gonna be a fix?
No, he gonna carry him. He's not gonna knock him out.
What?
His exhibition, Mike ain't gonna knock him out. He's just gonna carry him. Carry him, then Mike go and get his brother, then he go get this. Hey man, this only Mike Tyson can do this. Only Mike Tyson get paid. Do you realize that there's a lot of people in the United States and across the world that really think that Mike can become heavyweight champion of the world again?
I said to you, if you stuck him in a room with Joshua, he beats Joshua inside 3 rounds. And you said to me, now, do you believe me?
Yeah, within 3 rounds.
If Mike was,
I think I said after 4 rounds, Mike would be in trouble. But 3 rounds.
Listen, if Mike fought the same night that Joshua fought Usyk, Joshua would be scared of Mike.
Sure
He'd
would.
be scared of Mike. He'd be scared of him. He'd be scared before he got in the ring.
I believe that now. Mike would scare him to death. Half the guys that Mike fought was scared before he got in the ring. Most of the guys.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Scared to get shaking.
That's what I'm saying to you.
They had a reason to shake too. Do you realize that Mike is the first heavyweight champion to fight in 10-ounce gloves?
No.
Yeah. They changed it. They changed the glove, the size of the glove because of him.
Wow.
That's right. He's the last one that fought in 8 ounces, and then they went to 10s. But Mike told me it doesn't make no difference. 10s or 8s, it doesn't make a difference, Stacy. You get the same. He's I knocked you out with 10 ounces, I can 8.
Who is the biggest puncher? George Foreman, Mike Tyson, Ernie Shavers, Deontay Wilder.
I have to say.
And Shannon Briggs because of the first round knockouts.
Shannon Briggs, yeah, he's big. Shannon Briggs, I call pass for Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs is a big puncher. He punches real hard, especially with the right hand. Mike is a devastating puncher because he punches hard and he punches with speed. He punches with so much speed, it's almost unbelievable. Ernie Shavers could punch really hard, really hard. Now, you put Deontay Wilder in there, okay? You put Wilder in the category with the big punches. And I've been reading what they say. Wilder's about number 3, number 4, number 5. You have to consider the opposition.
He's been hitting, knocking over.
You got to look at the opposition that Wilder was hitting and knocking out. Okay, Stubborn, these other guys, Dominic Brazil, and all. Come on, man. Those guys right there, hell, I can knock most of them out. Okay, so he hitting hard, but is he hitting hard enough to knock out George Foreman? Is he hitting hard enough to knock out Ali? Is he hitting hard enough to knock out Jimmy Ellis? Is he hitting hard enough to knock out Big Ernest Terrell? Is he been hard enough to knock out Ronnie Lyons? Kenny Norton? Is he hitting that hard?
Because all those guys were pushing back. So would he be able to generate the power, not get knocked out himself?
Those are the guys that to knock those guys out, you're gonna have to be able to punch and you're gonna have to be able to put them together. Ooh. That's all it is to it. They ain't going like Severn. They're not going like Dominic Brazil. Ooh. They're not going out like that. Ooh. You know, George Foreman been hit. George Foreman been hit by Ali, hit him a ton upside his head. He been hit. Kenny Norton, all these guys, Ernest Shaver. Ali take a better shot than all of them. He been down. Larry Holmes been down and got up. But you're getting hit by Shavers and all those hard punches, man. Ooh. You know, so you got to look at the opposition. You know, if he hit Ali, Ali said himself. If Mike Tyson hit, I figured Ali and Tyson fought. If Ali and Tyson actually fought, I think that Ali might have won. I said Ali would win the decision, but he may have to get up off the floor a couple of times. Okay, that's a true statement. And Crocodile asked Mike once, but Mike don't brag. You think you'd beat Ali? He said, I kicked Ali's tail with no problem. Now, the fact of the matter is, did Tyson ever fight up to his potential? Because, you know, Mike went to jail early. He was out 3 years like Ali was. Yeah. Both of them was out of the ring for a long time and to come back. So a 20-year-old Mike Tyson would have killed a Deontay Wilder. Oh, yeah. Or any of them. It can no contest. Okay. So what are you gonna hit him with to stop Mike? What are you gonna stop him with? First of all, he'll be scared to death to throw his right hand. So when he get hit, he's gone. Ain't no doubt about it. I remember when we fought Andrew Galata. I remember this girl from Poland. I was with Phil Collins, the singer. I was at his house a few months ago, and these girls, photographers there from Poland, was doing all this interviewing and stuff like that. So she said, "Oh, we love Mike Tyson." She said, and I said, "Yeah, you got some pretty good fighters came from Poland too." And she was saying, what's the kid name that Mike fought in Detroit? Galata, yeah. So I said, "Yeah, he fought Galata." She said, "Oh, you know Galata?" I said, "Yeah, I know Galata." I said, "I was with Mike when Mike fought Galata." Now, I told Mike, I said, "Listen," I said, "Mike, we in Detroit. You trained at Brewster Center where Joe Louis trained. The same gym, little everything." I said, "Now let me explain something to you, Mike. Joe Louis would break bones. Joe Louis would break your jaw. He could break bones in a person's body. So did George Foreman." I said, "Let me tell you something. Winning this fight in Detroit, you got to honor Joe Louis. You got to break some bones." So that went to press, ate that up. Stacy Mckinley told Mike Tyson he need to break this boy's bones. Okay, if you watch the fight, Mike hit him, and he fractured 2 vertebrae in his back, the back of his neck, and he fractured 4 ribs, cracked 4 ribs in his side. I said, "Now you don't want to fight." That's when Galata spit the mouthpiece out. I said, "I ain't coming back
fight no more, no." That was a good fight until Galata quit. It was a good fight. It was exciting.
So when you start talking about punching, now it's just like Lennox. Now Lennox Lewis is a hell of a puncher too.
Yeah.
It's just like Lennox. Now Lennox Lewis hitting guys that could take punches.
Yeah, but Lennox he couldn't knock Holyfield out. But
Holyfield is different. Holyfield is in a whole class to himself.
But James Toney knocked him out. James Toney knocked him out.
James Toney knocked him out with a body shot because he hit him right on the liver, right where it's supposed to hit him, right on where that big vein to go down and cut everything off right there. James Toney hit with a body shot. Now, Reddick Bolt, all them guys hit him upside the head. Whew, my goodness. But anyway, so when you look at Joe Louis would break bones. Okay. Lennox Lewis told Deontay Wilder, when Deontay Wilder was trying to say, "I'd have beat Mike," he said, "Look, you haven't been in the ring with a person who's trying to break your bones and stuff. You ain't fought nobody like that. You ain't fought nobody that can do that to you. It's a whole different ball game. You got to fight a guy, you knowing yourself, this man, he can break my jaw at any time. He can break the same way with George Foreman. Okay, Ernie Shavers. These guys would break your bones. Okay, now I don't see no bones that this boy done broke. I don't see no skull that he done cracked. Sonny Liston would crack your skull. So you talking about real punches that prove that they're punches, breaking jaws, breaking bones, cracking skulls, and all this kind. They punching. This guy is fighting guys, class B fighters, B- fighters, man. He's knocking out. He's knocking out no A fighters. So you got to see who they're knocking out. So you can't put him in that category.
Yeah. When you put it like that, yeah, that shuts that conversation completely down.
Shut down.
Shut down. Why, Deontay?
Ali said that Ernest Shavers was the hardest puncher he ever been in the ring with, and Ali been in with all of them. He said he punched harder than anybody. He said he punched me. Yeah, harder than Foreman. He said, hit me. Yes, he did. He said hit me so hard I saw my ancestors in Africa. But what happened is what they found. We all learned later on that Ali had an unusual. He could absorb punches. He could take a shot.
Yes.
Better than any heavyweight. George, they wanted me to spar with George Foreman one time. They offered me, I think it was $800 a week. I said, he must be crazy. I fired my trainer. Must be crazy. I'm not going to fool with this guy. This guy here was breaking guys' backs and bones and stuff. These guys is punching, man, with trainer's gloves on.
Well, Foreman killed a cow with one punch, I heard.
That's what I heard.
That must be true. If you heard it too, it must be true then.
But these guys were punching. So knocking out a class B fighter is a whole lot different than knocking out A fighters. So it's a big difference. Now Ali got a lot of knockouts, but he said I don't hit that hard, but I hit so regular. You got a good knockout record, but look how many times he hit you, he'll get you out of there. So the accumulation of punches. But as far as one punch goes, he knocked out Berman, he knocked out Brazil, he knocked out this other kid. Ortiz had him beat, then he came back and knocked out Ortiz. But you knocking out B- fighters, man. You're not knocking out the guys I just named. So how they gonna put you in there? Wow. I'm watching Ernest Shavers drop Larry Holmes. I'm watching Ernest Shavers have Muhammad Ali messed up. Sonny Liston, all of them were knocking these guys out cold. These heavyweights. So you got a whole different ball game. Everybody when Ali got ready to fight Sonny Liston, they know Sonny hit too hard. Sonny breaking bones. So we got no bone pressure. Bone pressure crushed a couple of bones too. But no, I can't put him in that category. Mike Tyson would beat all them guys at one time. They'd have called hell with Mike Tyson. 20-year-old Mike Tyson was a monster. He was a man from the universe. He's different. These guys are different, man. They're special athletes. So you have to, just like Michael Jordan, all those guys. Michael Jordan, I can go with Seabiscuit, Man of War. All these great athletes. Those are horses I just named, but they're all great athletes. You don't see them like you can't pick them up every day. They're different. I got a big picture. I got a big picture of Seabiscuit in here, and they said, "Well, why do you want to put a horse in here?" That's because he become champion, become a Triple Crown winner because he beat Man of War. Man of War was a big dog, but Seabiscuit was an underdog. His jockey was an underdog. His jockey was trying to box a little bit, street fighting, and to make money and stuff like that. So he took him and went on to become a Triple Crown winner. So these guys are just these athletes like this in a whole different category than what we got today. Right. Tyson Fury about the best we got right now, but I see some of this tricks and stuff is beginning to slip a little bit. So we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, maybe let's see what he does against a different opponent, whether he'll go back to his old style because it's not Wilder moving straight forward against Wilder, and maybe he'll change his style back to what it was before because it's not Wilder he's fighting anymore. He's had 3 straight fights with Wilder, so maybe now we might see the old Fury come back. We might. Yeah,
we're gonna see what happens. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't come back with that rhythm. Let him keep walking forward. Let him keep walking forward. That's what I want him to keep doing. I don't want to get back in that rhythm. That rhythm is hard to keep up with.
Finally, does Tyson Fury beat Oleksandr Usyk?
Usyk, yeah. Yeah, beat him easy. No contest.
Bashir thinks that Usyk's the best heavyweight in the world at the moment.
Well, I'm not gonna say no, he's not the best, but I'm not gonna say that I can't say that he's not right there because he's the champion. He's like I say, the man, everything he got, everything he has proves champion. Got champion written all over it. He's never lost. He won everything he did. He won a gold medal in the Olympics. You don't win gold medals in the Olympics if you can't fight. So you don't even win a national championship, you can't fight. So he's right there. He's all of that, but can he be beat? Yes.
Of course he can.
Tyson Fury is right there. Can he be beat? Possibility. But I think the guy, the chance that he could have been beat, the guy just didn't have enough in him. He didn't have the right corner. He didn't have no help in the corner, and he didn't. His defense is just bad. All offense, no defense. Some guys say, well, a good defense, good offense. Yeah,
offense.
If you stop throwing punches. And when you stop throwing punches, yeah.
Punches not coming back.
Yeah. So
for losses.
Even our former president said, yeah, they was talking about banning handguns in the United States and banning all guns. And the president said, no. He said, no, I tell you what, you want to know how you settle this? Okay. They said, what? Hi, Mr. President. It's a different story. When they started shooting, you started shooting back. It's a whole different story. That's what Trump said. Yeah, you got a point right there. Yeah, it's a different story. So hey, we're gonna stop this shooting. We're gonna be shooting back. But
Stacy,
anyway,
you owe me something, and you still haven't produced it yet. And all the time we've been talking, an interview with your champion. I'll tell you how we do it. I'll tell you how we do it for you, Stacy. We'll do it, and you can sit in the room with him, so you can tell him what questions to answer and what question not to answer. Because I'm slippery like that. So we'll do it that way, Stacy. How's that sound?
But, hey, Trevor's pretty smart too.
Yeah, I know. But I know you're going to give him the gag order.
I'm gonna call you. We're gonna set it up for one day next week when he comes to the gym.
Let's get him in because he hasn't. I don't know of many Trevor Bryan interviews, to be honest.
I get it straight for you. But hopefully we get a chance to fight. I hope we fight Usyk. We're looking for Usyk. We'll knock him out, and then we're gonna go fight Tyson Fury.
Good luck with that. But in the time, if you don't get that, will you fight Daniel Dubois?
It's a possibility. If that's what they call for. It's a possibility. Okay. We're gonna see what happens.
All right, keep me in the loop. Mr.
Okay, then.
Mr. McKinley, thank you so much. Do you have any final words to people who've been listening today? They love you.
Guys with the heavyweight division. We only got one heavyweight title in the United States, one champion. We got to bring all them belts back. Got to bring them back over this way. We're gonna make Tyson Fury, make all of them jump off the Golden Bridge. We're gonna make them jump off the bridge over there in England.
Over there in England, the London Bridge.
Yeah, the London Bridge. We're gonna make Fury jump off the London Bridge. We're gonna be all right. Boxing is flourishing. When the heavyweight division is flourishing, all boxing is
flourishing. Of course. Yeah. Mr. McKinley, once again, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.